All right, I guess we'll go ahead. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Del Pizzo. I'm the Chair for Professional Development for American Society of Naval Engineers. And I am joined by our Executive Director, Dr. Lee McHugh. Good afternoon, Lee.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone.
Lee's going to be, she's got command of all the recording system, and she'll be jumping in and helping me present this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. This is part of our webinar series for professional development, and today's is on the Naval Engineering Certificate. Before we get started, since we have a captive audience, we'll go ahead and do some advertising. Our professional development website is at navalengineers.org. Have you signed in to Naval Engineers today? You should check every day for all sorts of new things that happen. They have some great calendar items coming up. But if you do /education, or if you hit, and I'm going to use my mouse here just to show right there, you can see where it says education. You hit that, and that's going to give you all the links of some of our professional development that's coming up, and also have recorded courses that you can check. In some cases they're free, in some they have a very, very nominal fee. Coming up in January, there's the Introduction to Combat System Engineering. This is an excellent course. It's an all-day class. It's gotten a lot of popularity over the years, and we're happy to have it again in January. And this will count towards your Naval Engineering Certificate, so we're very happy to start off the year with this course. This will be at ASNE headquarters, and that's on Duke Street in Alexandria, so local for our folks in the Washington area, and we hope that you'll join us. A very, very reasonable fee. I believe, is it for ASNE members, $300?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, it's a fantastic rate for a full day of classes. Also upcoming is the OPV Phenomenon. This is our webinar for February. It's Offshore Patrol Vessels is what OPV stands for. If you haven't seen that acronym before, then you need to listen to the webinar. It's about an hour, and it's going to be hosted by ABS, American Bureau of Shipping, as well as Vard Marine, which has been instrumental in designing the American offshore patrol vessel known as the Offshore Patrol Cutter, the U.S. Coast Guard's newest class. Pictured there is the Holland, which is a Dutch vessel, and that is one of the more popular of the OPV designs. I believe that's a Damen design. So, let's go ahead and get into Naval Engineering Certificate. Now, this all started with ASNE's strategic plan, and this was the 5-year look ahead that we were doing around 2014, 2015, and one of the actions and milestones was for ASNE to become the preferred provider of programs for education, training, credentialing, experience, and mentoring. And this is rolling out the Naval Engineering Certificate is the result of one of the results of this particular action, as in addition to several other efforts like webinars that the Professional Development Group has been doing under the leadership of ASNE. The intended outcome is the society is regarded throughout the maritime and naval communities, and this is not just for government, this is for industry too, and not just the U.S., but around the world, as the most worthwhile resource for relevant, timely, and accurate education and training for the fundamental education and training on engineering challenges unique to our naval and maritime forces. And when we say this, we mean navies, coast guards, as well as other defense and constabulary forces, both in the United States and around the world. So we had a education needs assessment survey that was done back in 2014, and this was to try to get a feel for the industry's views on continuing education and what their needs were. We had over 400 responses, and one of the questions was, please provide any other comments related to educational needs of naval engineers. And as you could see from some of the responses, a lot of things were leading towards certificates, certification, continuing education. One in particular here, the second one, needs to be a major emphasis, not an occasional occurrence. So not just a periodic or a milestone type of thing, but it should be something of a continuum through your career. And we've been trying to answer that bell command as best we can. So coherent multi-activity curriculums, excellent instructors, needs to be some professional certification on a national level without professional registration. Now this is key too, because it's not necessarily a PE. That's not where we're going with this. It's not a registration or a licensure. This is a certificate that's done that gives a feel for people that see that you've earned this, an idea of the kind of broad education you've received of this kind of curriculum. So, also an interesting one was the lack of case studies that they find in a lot of their training, and they were looking for some more case studies. And in fact, some of you may have seen some of our other courses that we've done as webinars. We've done ones on the Chonan, that was Admiral Eccles gave that one. There was also the Thresher that was done, and so we've had some excellent case study presentations, and we hope to include that. That's under the Rosenblatt series, which we're very proud of. That's a really excellent series of presentations. We're hoping to provide additional ones. I'm sure we will in 2018. So the goal. ASNE's Naval Engineering Certificate is designed to provide a degreed engineer, so this is a person typically with an ABET accredited degree, the fundamental skills necessary to contribute to naval-specific engineering challenges. The target audience? Oh, we're just getting a little feedback there. Oh, you know what? I should point out, before we go any farther, we're in the ABS office in Arlington. I'm sorry, we used to be in Alexandria. We're in Arlington now. And we have been told that there may be fire drill alerts today. That doesn't mean we have to leave the building, but we could have some very large, loud alarms going off sometime during the presentation. We hope that won't happen. But just in case, please don't be alarmed. It will just be a few seconds and then it'll shut down. So anyway, degreed engineers in fields related to naval engineering. So we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the presentation, and Lee will give a little bit of description on that. Engineers who work directly or indirectly for U.S. or international sea services, and that means industry as well as government, as well as those supporting defense contractors. The ASNE certificate is not a license, as I mentioned, but it can help you with PDH hours. So those that do have licenses or other types of credentials, like for example, defense acquisition field certifications for project management or logistics or some of these PDH hours could be applied towards something like that. The certificate is not a master's degree, but some of the experience that you will gain with some of the faculty teaching, and we do have some excellent instructors from around the country, some with some great universities and colleges that will be teaching some of these courses, and it might help you in transitioning or making a decision to eventually participate in a graduate program. So, the learning outcomes. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. McHugh, who is going to give a little more information on the course itself. Thank you.
Thank you. So the learning outcomes that were selected for this certificate program were based on input from that continuing education needs assessment, from review of curricula in the naval engineering programs in the country, and from soliciting feedback from the Professional Development Committee. The goal of this really was inspired to be kind of a one-stop shopping for a company or a Navy employee who knows that they're working on ships, but their background isn't that. So for the aerospace engineer who gets hired by a shipyard and wants to rapidly get up to speed on how to talk intelligently about ships specifically. So the learning outcomes, we focused on demonstrating competency in core fields of naval engineering, including weights and balance, arrangements, stability, fundamentals of marine electric systems, fundamentals of marine propulsion, fundamentals of combat systems, shipboard maintenance and corrosion mitigation, design for austere conditions, future technologies, fundamentals of cybersecurity, and then you see in there also the ability to critically assess a marine casualty. This is coming back to that point that Rich had made earlier about case studies and putting a real emphasis on that. And as we designed the curriculum, we wanted to design for maximum flexibility. So we've had some good questions come by email in the lead up to this about, well, how many hours does it take to earn the certificate, or how much would it cost in total? And the truth is that it really is dependent on the path that's chosen. Someone can choose to attend a bunch of symposia, which would be more time consuming, but would involve large amount of face-to-face interaction, or someone might choose to focus on coursework or a mixture thereof. So flexibility is really key and is built into this. So for weights and balance, we have either the course From Kayaks to Carriers, Basics of Ship Design, which has been offered online, or attending the Symposium Technology Systems and Ships. For arrangements, the options are as courses Marine Systems 1 short course, or the International Naval Design Standards course, and from the Symposia standpoint, the Fleet Maintenance and Modernization Symposium. On stability, the options are the Ship Seakeeping and Small Boat Dynamics course, again, From Kayaks to Carriers, Basics of Ship Design, which brings the point, we've also had inquiries as to whether or not you can use the same course or symposia to fulfill multiple learning outcomes, and the answer to that is yes. So you can check the box for multiple ones with one attendance. Or the Launch and Recovery Symposium, which in 2018 is actually going to be combined with the Multi-Agency Craft Conference. On Fundamentals of Marine Electrical Systems, the course option is Electrical Power Basics, and the symposia are either the Intelligent Ship Symposium or the Advanced Machinery Technology Symposium, which alternate years with each other. For Fundamentals of Marine Propulsion, that one there's a course for Marine Systems 1. For Fundamentals of Combat Systems, that is either the Combat Systems Symposium or the course that Rich mentioned in his opening remarks, the Introduction to Combat Systems Engineering, a course that the next offering is just about a month away. For shipboard maintenance and corrosion control, the course options include Maintain Systems, Maintenance and Modernization, the Challenge of Integration, or the course on shipboard corrosion characterization and prevention strategies, or the symposia, either the Fleet Maintenance and Modernization Symposium or Mega Rust. For Design for Austere Conditions, the symposia options are Arctic Day or the Multi-Agency Craft Conference, MAC. On Future Technologies, the courses are either Intro to Autonomous Systems or Tools, Training, and Technology for Additive Manufacturing, or the on-demand course. So on-demand course meaning that it is currently on our website. You can log in, hit purchase, different rates for members or non-members, but you can go ahead, buy it, and watch it as you see fit. The on-demand course is Fuel Cells at Sea. For cybersecurity, the course is Foundations of Cybersecurity. And to critically assess a marine casualty, the course option is Kayaks to Carriers, either the on-demand courses which Rich had mentioned earlier, the one about the Cheonan or the one about the Thresher, or a self-directed case study presented at an ASNE event. And if you're looking for more information as to what is in each of these courses, there is a course catalog essentially up on the website under that education tab that Rich had pointed to earlier that'll give you sort of the brief snippet on what each course is, and they're marked in there as to whether or not they count toward the certificate. They're indicated both if they're toward the certificate, if they're on demand, or if they're upcoming. And then for the final assessment, we have a form also on that website where the person who wants to sit for the exam indicates how they're satisfying the requirements being the prerequisite of an ABET accredited engineering degree. We do ask for a copy of a transcript demonstrating that. Completion of the core curriculum no more than 5 years prior to the exam. Application for the exam, which is that form that's on the certificate website. And then the exam, which will be delivered annually and written by the Professional Development Committee. We do anticipate to offer the exam for the first time in 2018, likely toward the end of calendar year 2018. And we do not intend to charge an exam fee for the first class of participants in this Naval Engineering Certificate program. So that's sort of a little bait to lure people into joining sooner rather than later. And this look back of 5 years prior to the exam, we are including, if you've taken any of these courses or attended these symposia prior to our rolling out the certificate, that's fine, they all count. And we have the ability to pull that information to help you build up or refresh your memory on the portfolio of what you have attended. And with this, I'm going to turn it back over to Rich to run through the what's in it for me.
Great, and it looks like we're already getting some questions here, and we'll hit those in just a minute, unless you want to take the break right now and answer some of them. The one of the curriculum is on the website right now. So if you go to our education website and look for Naval Engineering Certificate program, you will see the curriculum there. So that is already listed. So the those slides were taken directly from the website, just blown up a little bit for ease of viewing. Are there any others that you'd like to touch on right now?
Yeah, there's a question of must we have a bachelor's or is an ABET master's okay? Yes, an ABET master's is fine. There's another question, how often will the exam be offered? Once per year. Once per year is the drumbeat that we're anticipating. If this grows in popularity to an extent to warrant offering multiple times a year, we're open to that. But for this rollout, we're planning on once per year.
Okay.
That's a collection of questions. There's a comment in here, but the others that's all the questions.
Okay, great. What's in it for me, the WIFM? You know, these are just some of the major ones that I've come up with and that we just talked about. It's an excellent program for subject matter experts, SMEs, who wish to broaden their naval engineering knowledge to other disciplines. I mean, I'm personally a piping engineer, firefighting, electrical is pretty much what most of my engineering career has been. But it would be great to learn more about stability and casualty assessment and combat systems. And these are things you don't normally see, or you may not see as a subject matter expert in your own field. Or you may be a structures engineer who doesn't see some of the propulsion systems. And so this is a really nice program. It's not necessarily just a junior engineer program. It's something to broaden everyone's experience. It's an excellent overview of naval engineering for engineers who have not previously worked in the industry. One of the best naval architects I know was started as a civil engineer, and this is a great starter to give them a good feeling of the flavor of naval engineering across the board for a full ship design, and to give them an idea for those who have not previously worked in the industry. It can supplement or in some cases replace in-house training programs. This is a great program to give new folks coming into your organization a good feel. And again, it could be some of those subject matter experts. Say you have someone that just does automation, to come in and take a few of these courses to give them an idea of the broader, how their discipline fits into the rest of the ship and the rest of the design. And so this could be a very nice supplemental or even your in-house program. So, and yes, more courses are being developed, and yes, we certainly take requests. In fact, we'll take them today if you have any. We're always looking for some other additional topics that we can put into as alternatives to some of our subjects. We may add some subjects in the future.
And there is a question here that I want to address that is, does ASNE agree with Navy Standard Ship Work Breakdown, SWBS? And I would say we did not formulate the curriculum around that, but many of the courses are strongly influenced by it. As an example, that From Kayaks to Carriers course, we use the Navy Salvage Manual as the textbook for it. Many of our instructors in the backgrounds are diverse, coming from academia, industry serving the commercial side of things, industry serving the naval side of things, and Navy, and Coast Guard for that matter. And so we didn't want to pick one fixed point path. We were trying to give our own view of the breadth of what naval engineering is.
Thank you. So the path forward. The aim is to be ICE compliant, and ICE is the Institute for Credentialing Excellence. It's ICE 1100, it's the 2010 edition, and that's the standard for assessment-based certificate programs. We could pursue an ACAP accreditation, that's an assessment-based certificate accreditation program, if we feel there's enough demand for it. If people are looking for that, say for some of their, as a supplement to their in-house training, they would like to have ACAP accreditation, we could pursue that in the future. But we do want to be ICE compliant, that's our aim. It's very simple right now for ASNE to track. The courses and symposia participation is already noted in member records. We already have that, so every time you're at those courses, we know you're there, and so you can get credit for past courses that you've attended. You don't have to be enrolled in the program to get credit. It can be something that was done over the last couple of years. Professional Development Committee, that's the group that I chair, is going to be developing the annual exam, and we'll also be reviewing applicant registrations. And we're going to begin accepting those during the first half of 2018.
have another question that's come in, which is perhaps a nice place to insert it, saying, how do ASNE members seek recognition as tech or education subject matter experts? How can contribute with exam questions? If I remember right, the next slide that you're about to go to, or was it that has the we take requests?
Oh, that was when we just, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right there. We take requests.
So we take requests, and that goes on both sides. So we take requests saying, you know, we could really use some expertise at our Warfare Center in blah, blah, blah. Would you offer a course in this region on XYZ? But we also very much welcome people who say, my expertise is, I'll use Rich as an example, my expertise, or I have some expertise in offshore patrol vessels that I think could be shared and be valuable. Is there an interest in having a webinar on that? To which we say absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
And I also, speaking maybe for Rich, but we're always recruiting members of our volunteer committees. So if you're interested in joining in on the professional development committee, your expertise could definitely be put to use.
Definitely, definitely. So, at this point, let's go ahead and open it to any other questions. If you want to say them over audio, that's fine too, or you could type them in, whatever works for you. But we open the lines now.
I have a question on the courses, and I know you said some are on demand, but for those of us who do not live near DC, how can we go ahead and take them? And then with your symposia, is it possible to access symposia material later and then take credit?
So those are excellent questions. We've been doing a mix of face-to-face courses and online courses. So some of these do have online options to account for geography, and also of the face-to-face courses, we've been offering them often on-site at events that do hop around. So the Fleet Maintenance Symposium in Hampton Roads and in San Diego, for example, we often have a course or two in conjunction with. So that was part one of your question. I'm trying to remember the part two.
Let's see, it was for those that are out of town, and what was the other question?
Symposia, getting access to symposia.
Oh, right, materials, if that would count as attending the symposia.
Yeah, I'd say we don't have a good mechanism right now for that, but we do often within ASNE headquarters and our volunteer leadership talk about ways to enable virtual participation. So using our design sciences workshop as an example, just recently we did actually record all of day one of that workshop and have some of it available free online, some of it available for pay online. It wasn't set up with the paradigm of a student taking it as part of the certificate program. That workshop in particular wasn't part of the certificate program, but I could see that setting a path in motion for us to be recording the material and facilitating some virtual participation post-event.
Anything else?
And Ed had also asked the question of how you can offer expertise in reviewing exam questions, and I would say that truly is going to be the tasking of the professional development committee, so the best way to get involved in that is to join that committee.
Yeah, feel free to send me an email. I think my email is on the education site. If not, please feel free to contact ASNE directly, and they will certainly get you in touch with me.
And you were CC'd on the email. So everybody, your confirmation email that went to everybody, you should have Rich's email address.
Great. For those that can't find it for one reason or another, it's R Del Pizzo, that's RDELPIZZO, at Eagle, just like the bird, EAGLE.org, O-R-G.
Yeah, and so the one question that came in is what would be a rough time frame to be able to complete with the mix of online and on-site coursework. Rich and I were just running through that last year, and it does actually look like the particularly dedicated person who is willing to travel to Symposia could likely finish it within a year. There's another question or comment about a big obstacle to certificate involvement will be the inability of people not in DC or Norfolk to complete the training, and that's an excellent point that's being raised, and I think we'll review our our mechanisms to facilitate some virtual participation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is an initial rollout, so we hope to improve the program and get it better and better to be more suitable, and to have others be able to get involved, because we certainly want and encourage participation as much as possible.
And if you're on the fence, if you're somebody who's not in DC or Norfolk and you're deliberating if this is for you, I would encourage you to review, say, the Rosenblatt lectures. Because the Rosenblatt lectures, one, I believe, are free online, and they are part of the certificate program, so they're a great way to see whether or not this is a flavor that you like. Another comment, hopefully ASNE seeks to distribute symposia locations around the U.S., and that is true. So symposia proceedings are available online. Anyone can go in and purchase those. And again, we've been recording some portions of symposia and posting those online. I think the question that was being directed was the more pointed of using the symposia toward the certificate program, so not just being able to get at material afterwards, but being able to get at complete enough material to have all the learning benefit. And that, you know, that is a tough challenge to think through, since so much of a symposium is the engagement with fellow attendees. But technology is coming a long way, and it is something that we talk about regularly.
And also, if you want to take a look at that curriculum, again, going to education, that's up there. You should be able to see the pointer here. I've got my virtual laser pointer. And then you go to Naval Engineering Certificate right there, and that'll get you right to it. And it also has upcoming courses here, and the course catalog and some of our on-demand learning. As well as we have ASNE Tube Talks that are kind of cool YouTube presentations that happen periodically. Are there any other questions?
I see some typing, so I think there's another question coming.
Okay.
That is correct. So the comment is that the course catalog lists more than those needed for the certificate, which is correct. Actually, could you click on that link?
Sure. Let me go ahead. I'll get out of here. And, oh, you know, can I do that? Let's see.
Oh, right. This isn't.
Let me get it out of pointer option here.
And while you're pulling that up, there's a question about the Rosenblatt lectures. It's saying, please repeat the reference. So yes, on our website, under the on-demand learning option, so you go to education and then on-demand learning, there are 2 lectures that were done as part of the Rosenblatt lecture series. One of which is the Thresher lecture, which does count toward the certificate. And I believe those Rosenblatt lectures are available for free. You do have to log in and quote-unquote purchase it, but it's a $0 purchase.
Let's go right to it here.
Yeah, perfect.
Do you want to see Naval Engineering or course catalog?
Let's do course catalog first and then on-demand learning. Just to walk folks through.
Okay, and here we are. We're right in the website right now, and here's the course catalog. It also gives you how many hours, and it gives you a nice little overview as you go to each one.
And the ones that are part of the certificate have that university logo on them. The ones that you can straight up download have the cloud download button.
There you go, so you can watch this right now. These are ones that are offered as courses that are in-class courses. There's your cloud course. And this is one that has been done at Symposia. These are 4-hour classes. There's the 8-hour for January that's coming up.
There's a little bit of a lag.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast here. I was just told Lisa there's a bit of a lag. So here's another one. There's your lecture series. This is Thresher.
And so if you click Watch Now on that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I believe that takes you directly to the product. You could also find it through the on-demand learning. But that, as you see, as part of the Rosenblatt lecture series, the ones that are under Rosenblatt are free. So that lecture was free. As Ed is pointing out in the text comment, prices do vary based on what you're looking to download. So some items have costs, some don't. That one by Captain Urso is indeed free.
So there you go, a free course. How many courses do you get free on any of these certificates? What a deal. And then again, if you want more information on the Naval Engineering Certificate, you just go right to that, and here you go. And there's your course catalog. And this will give you, if you go to, say, C on Naval Engineering for Stability, for example, that gives you all the different options just as we were discussing.
Another question that's come in is, will ASNE's website hold an updated record of courses completed to date for any given individual? That is functionality that I believe we can add to the member dashboard. I think we currently do not have that live because the way we have tagged it to individuals has changed some over time. You can see all your past invoices, so if nothing else, you can see what you've paid for and use that as a way to remind yourself as to what you've done. But yeah, as this program builds, we will be revisiting the IT around it. Who keeps the record of what has been completed? So that there's a form on this page, which, Rich, if you're able to click on that, right above the intended learning outcomes, where it says emailing this form.
Here?
Yeah, that one. So the way that we seek to have the process go is that the applicant to sit for the exam sends in this form and indicates their belief of what they've completed. We validate that based on their member record, and then presuming that everything's in agreement, great. If there's a disagreement between our records and the individual's records, we circle back to the individual to clarify anything that needs clarification.
Yeah, something we could do, and this is just a possibility. I hate tossing these at Lee during during the public presentations, but one possibility would be to, once you complete a course, if you're registered for the certificate program, is to send your as an email, you've completed this course, and to put that in and send this form back to you to show where you are and how you're progressing. So as you look on this form, it's got all the different courses, and it'll show this one's been done, this one's been done. So we could do that by email to just give you a progress chart as you go along. Yeah. So I mean, that's one possibility.
There's a question as to where is that form posted. So if you can go back just so folks can see how you got there.
It's right here, right where you go to. This is the Naval Engineering Certificate Program. If you go all the way up here, there's the strip, and there's your menu strip, and there's education. You go to Naval Engineering Certificate. That'll take you right to this site, and then you just scroll down to where it says Naval Engineering Certificate, and there you go, this form.
And another question came in about registering for the certificate program. So as of right now, we don't have people quote unquote register going into it. We just account for it. They submit the form once all is done. What Rich was proposing is that if somebody wants to be in regular communication about tracking their progress, they're more than welcome to, and we could be keeping a list then of people who are progressing on that path. But we didn't want to make it such that somebody had to hit go on their 5-year clock in order to start it. We wanted to give people the flexibility to say, hey, it looks like I've got everything completed. Now I'm ready to sit for the exam.
Oh, did we want to mention the first year free on the application?
You mentioned it in the remarks, but it's good to remind folks that as mentioned before, sitting for the exam it will be free this first year of the program. So emails to R. Del Pizzo is the dialogue path.
Oh, if you have any questions, you should be going direct to ASNE for the course itself. And in fact, if you look, there's an email there, certificate@navalengineers.org. That goes directly to ASNE. I am happy to answer any of your questions, but they should be the official path for the course and for the certificate program.
And there's also a question about it being an in-person exam. So yes, for this initial class, the intent is to do an in-person exam. But again, we want to be flexible with where people live, so we might be able to come up with arrangements using testing facilities or proctors.
Good point. Any other questions?
how to prove someone has an ABET degree. So that's why we asked for a copy of the transcript. Most transcripts end up having a line at the bottom that says so-and-so is granted an ABET degree in yada yada yada. If the transcript doesn't make it clear, we can circle back to the university on the transcript to clarify.
Any more questions?
You don't mind, pull up the on-demand learning site too, and we'll give folks another chance to type. But just for anyone who might be looking for classes in this on-demand learning, go to education, then on-demand learning, and these are your options for things that you can do from the comfort of your living room, sitting by the fireplace over the holidays.
So we've got set-based design, we've got that fuel cell course, there's the Rosenblatt series, ROKS Chonan, which was an incredible lecture, and also the Thresher there as well.
I don't see any typing. Are there any other questions? We do have about 15 minutes left.
Looking good? No saved rounds?
Oh, is he typing now?
Yeah, I have one. It's just a reminder. Please investigate means of making past symposium courses available to those of us who are far away, because right now it's my biggest obstacle.
It's excellent feedback. We will definitely take that for action.
Yeah, and I mean this. Obviously, we're brand new on this rollout right now. In fact, we're pre-milestone 1 because it starts in January, and so it was just as important for us to receive some of the feedback for folks from this presentation, and this has really been helpful. We've had some excellent feedback from you, and we really do appreciate you participating and giving us some of those comments. And of course, the conversation doesn't end after this. We're happy to hear more from you. Again, you can send it to me direct or to the ASNE website, and we're happy to take your questions and your recommendations.
It's an excellent time. Another comment that came in is that we should have an info session at every ASNE symposium explaining the certificate program.
That's a great idea.
Wonderful
Great
suggestion.
idea.
So I'm new to the industry, would be interested in being able to rapidly complete. Is there a calendar for events throughout the year yet, or is only planned through February? Also, I'm assuming becoming a member is encouraged in pursuing the certificate. So yes, becoming a member is encouraged. I think you'll find that the $145 of membership you rapidly make up in the discount that you would have for the member rate. The symposium calendar, if you go under Symposia, Rich, are you able to?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry. The symposium calendar is up for much of the year, or the Symposia website is actually just mouse over Symposia. You can see the upcoming schedule of Symposia, so if you're looking to fulfill many of these requirements through those events, those are there. The courses currently are posted through, and those are the ones that are open for registration, the Symposia that are open for registration. AMTS and FMS will likely both open for registration here shortly too. If you're looking for the upcoming courses, that's correct. We only have posted right now through February. We're trying to stay at least a couple months ahead of time and expect. We have the workings of the March course is likely to be tied to naval corrosion and not directly related to the certificate. I'm trying to. I was trying to think. We've got the schedule that's tentative in the works. Trying to remember the specific time frame. When Rich and I were working through this yesterday, though, and talking about completion within a year, we were focused on the fact that by careful selection of the courses or the symposia, it would be doable.
Yeah, I think it would take you straight to December If you, depending on which courses you took, if you went for combat systems in January, or if you went for the combat symposium in December, next December, because that just passed our last one.
Right.
But you would be able to hit all the marks for in a year, and be able to get the certificate in a year.
Yeah, and the comment is it's expensive to attend many symposia in a year, and that is correct. So we expect that there would be a mix. And again, I sort of view it, the lure that I want to give people is that Rosenblatt lecture that's free, so it's a great way to get your first exposure to it. Ed makes the comment that we need to develop and post info on whether reviewing past symposium minutes can qualify as symposium attendance, and I'd say at this point, no, it cannot. I think we're taking for action how to facilitate that in the future. Mm-hmm. But we really need recordings of all sessions if that's going to be a viable way to give people the full experience, and we don't have that on hand.
In many cases, though, there are alternatives that are either online or that we can do courses periodically throughout the year that could be in class. Another option is if you wanted to take this on as, say, a training program within your company or in your command, we would be able to offer some of those classes on site if there was enough attendance there that would make it applicable for ASNE to be able to host one at your site. So that's another option. Say if there were, I don't know, a dozen people that wanted to do combat systems, they may be able to accommodate that at your location.
Yeah.
So that's another option.
I'd also add on the comment about the calendar for courses coming up through the year. While we do have a plan that we're flushing out for March through December, if as you look at this calendar you say, well, I want to go to this symposium, I want to go to this symposium, but my real hole is going to be in course Z, don't hesitate to reach out, and we're small, we're agile, we're more than happy to cater our course schedule to the needs of folks who want to be completing the certificate in a timely manner.
Okay, well, I'm going to take us back to our presentation.
So Ed wrote, request a dialogue with Rich Del Pizzo on whether to include all parts of Navy SWBS as the course scopes for the Naval Engineering Certificate. So Ed, are you talking about an offline conversation, or are you wanting Rich to chime in on that now? Okay, offline. Okay,
yeah, not a problem. Happy to do it. I speak Swibbis, so.
Great. Well,
okay.
Thank you all very much for participating in this webinar today.
Great. And yeah, thank you very much. This has been really helpful, and I hope it's been helpful for you. At this point, we'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays. Please remember those who serve, and happy Hanukkah for those observing. It started yesterday. Merry Christmas in a couple of weeks, and enjoy the holiday break. And please don't forget during your break to check out the Naval Engineers website, take a look at education, and plot your course for next year. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.